Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. We have a question in here from YouTube username Abarup Basu. I hope I'm saying that right. Sir, I'm a beginning photographer. I'm looking for an entry-level lens for portrait photography. Which would be better, the Nikon 85mm f1.8G or the Nikon 50mm f1.4G? So, thank you very much for your question. Underline the fact here that you're looking for portrait photography, a lens for portrait photography. I just want you folks to focus on that because it does make a difference on what we're going to recommend here for a lens. Interesting that you're choosing between a Nikon 85 f1.8G and a Nikon 50mm f1.4G because you're not comparing aperture to aperture as far as apples to apples here. I would have thought maybe you were looking between the 85 and then the 50 f1.8. But maybe what it is based on the price points you're looking at. You could get a 50 f1.4 or a Nikon 85 f1.8, which would make more sense. Looking for an entry-level lens, what you haven't specified is whether or not you're shooting DX or FX, in other words, crop sensor or full frame. That makes a big difference on recommendations here because if you are shooting on a crop sensor body, I would say to go with the 50 f1.4G. In other words, if you got a D5500 or a 7000 or a 7100, a 7200, a 7500, a 500, any of the DX bodies, I will go with a 50 f1.4G between the two. The reason being that the 50 is very close with the crop to the effective field of view of an 85. And the 85 is our traditional portrait lens. It's one of the most favored, most used portrait lenses throughout, I guess you could say, history of photographers who want to shoot portraits. 85 is a very nice focal length for portraits. 85 on a full frame body. Traditionally, it's 35mm film. We would use an 85. So, taking a DX body with a 50, we've got a 75mm effective field of view. The 1.5 applies, and we've got 75mm equivalent. So it's very close to the 85, which is why I am a huge fan of the 50mm. As you'll know from previous videos, I currently have a 50mm f1.4D, which is also an option for you if your DX body supports non-G lenses. In other words, if you've got a body that has a built-in motor drive, such as the 7000, the 7100, the 7200, pretty sure the 7500 does too, and the 500. So if you have like a 3000 series body like the 3400, if you've got a 55 or a 5600, those don't support D lenses in the sense of allowing autofocus because they need to use a G lens that has the built-in motor drive, in which case I will go with the G. But if you are shooting on something like the 7000 series that has a built-in motor drive, then consider the D if you want to save some money. It's still a very nice lens. It's smaller and very good optically. Now, if you're shooting FX, like a 610, a 750, an 810, an 850, any of the FX bodies, then I would go with the 85 f1.8G, simply because I think the 85 is a better portrait lens. Essentially, the 50 on the DX is giving us close to an 85. But when you step up to FX and you don't have the crop, you want the 85 for that focal length because it's a very flattering focal length. The f1.8 is plenty fast in my opinion. I really like the 85mm f1.8G. So here's actually, I went and grabbed these for you to show you. I have both these here. This is the 85 f1.8G. So this is it with the hood on, the size of it. And it fits nicely on the larger FX bodies. It's a very nice lens. It's very nice optics, and I really like it. One of my favorite primes actually for an FX body. I've said before, if I was going to put a kit together right now for doing portraits and weddings again, I would get the 85 f1.8G and a 24-120 f4 VR lens from Nikon. That would be my kit. I'd be happy to shoot with that. I'm not even sure I would carry anything longer or wider. Covers pretty much everything for me in my shooting style. I quite like it. Now on DX, this is the 50 f1.4D I was talking about. So a little less expensive than the G. I picked this up for 200 Canadian, which is a bargain. And this one's in like new shape. It's very clean, as you can see, but a much smaller lens than the f1.4G. And there's some advantage to be had in that, just in size and weight. I would say that overall the G is maybe just a tad better performing lens. I don't think it's any sharper per se, but it's got newer coatings on the optics, so it's probably more resistant to flare and some other things. Not that the f1.4D ever had issues. This is a very well liked, very well respected lens. So those are the way I would go. If you're shooting DX, I would either get the 50 f1.4G or D, or if you want to save some money, the 50 f1.4 or f1.8G is a very nice lens as well. I would totally recommend that. If you're going to shoot FX, then this guy here, the 85 f1.8G, is the way to go, and I love that lens. And actually, I like that one a lot better. I like the G, the newer lens, a lot better than I liked the D lens. A lot of people did like the D. I just think the G has really improved over the D. I wasn't always a fan of the bokeh and some of the I don't know if it's an update in the coatings on the optics, why it's just better to me, but I really like the f1.8G, and that's what I would recommend for FX. Again, if you're looking for a zoom, as I said, if I was going to put something together, I'd put it together with the 24-120 f4 VR. So I hope that answers your question. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Is this what you would do? Do you agree with what I've recommended? Is there would you go with the 85 on a DX body? Do you disagree? Is there another option you'd go with? Let's help out Aberrap. I hope I'm saying that right. And let us know in the comments below what you do and why. And thanks for your question. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.